Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we're going to learn about instance metadata, and this is basically just data about our EC2 instance, things like the public IP address or the private IP address, and how we can access this data from the command line. And it's a really important topic to know going into the exam. Okay, so I've logged into the AWS console and I need to just go over to EC2, and I'm just going to create a brand new instance. I'm going to go launch instance, use the Amazon AMI. I'm going to use a T2 micro, hit next. I'm going to assign the S3 admin access role. I'm going to go ahead and hit next, and I'm just going to call this metadata. And I'm going to go ahead and hit next. I'm going to use my normal security group that I always use, the WebDMZ, and hit review and then launch, and then I'm going to use my private key. So I've provisioned an entirely new instance for this lecture. And go ahead and hit view instances. And as soon as this instance comes live, I'm going to open up my terminal window and SSH into it. So I'm just going to pause the video here. Okay, so my EC2 instance has now been provisioned, and here is my public IP address. So I'm just going to highlight this and go over to my terminal, and I'm going to SSH into it. So SSH EC2-user at, and then the public IP, and then using my my private key, so my EC2 PEM, and hit yes, and then I'm going to elevate my privileges. I'm going to elevate my privileges and then clear the screen. Okay, so to get our metadata, it's really simple. We do this using the curl command, and then we've got to go to this address. So it's http:// and then it's 169.254.169.254, then /, and then it's latest, because we want the latest, and then /, and then it's meta-data, then /. And you're going to need to remember that URL going into the exam. It is really important. So if you are not a numbers person, just remember it's the lowest number followed by the highest number in terms of IP addresses. So 169.254.169.254. You know, potentially they could mix them around. I don't know if they actually do that, but it's just the easiest way to remember it for me. And then /, latest, and then / metadata. And that will basically return a whole bunch of different variables that you can see here. So if I want to get the public IP address, I can hit the up arrow and I can type public-IPv4, and you can see that public IP address has been returned here. So it's 52.48.51.207. Now what we could do is hit the up arrow again and then do the greater than symbol, and then we could write this to a web page. So we could say my public IP.html and hit enter. And there we go. We can see that it's written to it. So if I do ls, I can see the mypublicip.html. So I could go in and just double check that it has actually written that that IP address to it. So mypublicip.html. And there we go. We can see my public IP address in there. Now, having just done the bash scripting lab, you can kind of imagine what you could start using this for. So we could do that curl command as a bash script, and then basically write things like our public IP address, our host name, our instance ID, etc., all to a text file. And then using another command, we then move that over to an S3 bucket. We could then set an action on that S3 bucket so that a Lambda function automatically triggers as soon as that information has been written to an S3 bucket, and that Lambda function could then go in and update our DNS entries to route 53. So you can see how everything's starting to connect together. Okay, so that's it for this lab, guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. Do remember that address going into the exam, and the fact that you are after the metadata, you're not after user data. And just to prove a point, if we were to do curl http://169.254.169.254 /latest, and then /user-data /, you can see that that's not a valid URL. So you're always after the metadata, not the user data. Okay, that's it. If you have any questions, please let me know. If not, feel free to move on to the next lecture. Thank you.